stress-free, leave your kids at home. Leave your kids at home. Do your two-step, get your groove on. This is feel good music, you can move on. Relax, stress-free, leave your kids at home. Leave your kids at home.
What up? What up? What up? What's up, everybody? It's your man, Russ Mitchell, the homesick Buckeye. We are in the building with a man striking fear in the heart of waterfowl and reptile everywhere. My man, Rick at Charge of Mopar. He is here with me.
Oh, yeah. I'm here. They better fear.
Yes, and we are here for foolishness. That is what we are here for. If you're here to learn something, whew, God help you, man. We are here to have a good time, laugh, enjoy ourselves, man, with the family. And, we do get into a little bit of educational stuff, just enough to be dangerous. But we appreciate you hanging out with us just to have a good time. Hopefully you're having a good day, a good week. And we are on the cam with the fam, brother. How you doing, Rick?
Not bad. I mean, I haven't had much work, so I've had to work at home. And I'm taking on some projects that I have been trying to avoid for quite a while. Plus, with all the rain we had the last few months, I couldn't do much of anything. So I got little Bob running. I got him over there on the other side. I've been going through scrap. I've been cutting things up. I tried to take on my garage, but that's a life-threatening situation right there, If you don't have heavy equipment, you can't go in my garage. You better have a hard hat and all kinds of PPE, because one wrong move and it's like Porky Pig's closet. When Daffy Duck opened the door and everything's falling out, just the same thing. So, and then on top of that, the air conditioner broke in my bedroom last week. The bracket fell off. It got hit by a branch and it ripped out the line. But you know what? I'm fixing it. I ordered a new refrigerant line. It came today. And it came, installation kit. So hopefully tomorrow I'll be tearing the siding off of my house, running a new line. And maybe by Thursday I'll have AC in my room again. And I won't have to sleep on the couch. So things are happening. I work more when I'm working at home than when I work for customers.
Yeah, it seems like every time I talk to you, if it wasn't for bad luck, you'd have no luck at all.
Hey, when you're poor, you got to be resourceful. And when you're poor, you don't all these little things that would drive a normal person crazy. Doesn't bother me. Van breaks down. You got to push the van. It's not the end of the world. Got to ride a bike. Oh, well, it happens, and then you have to try to find a part that nobody sold for 20 years. But again, I might have one in the garage. So I think it's all a mindset. A lot of people get upset over just the tiniest little things, and it drives me crazy. They get mad because broke a fingernail or their phone went dead or something stupid. And meanwhile, I'm running around trying to patch holes in my roof and pick up the parts off my car as I drive down the road. So everybody's perspective is different.
Yeah, that's exactly right, man. I'm with you on that. I'm not one to sweat the small stuff either. Some people, there's such thing as a high quality problem. But this is a low quality broadcast, and if you guys want to join us, come on in the stream. The link is in the chat. Hang out with us, tell a story, tell a joke, make fun of me, make fun of Rick, whatever you want, man. We're here to make you laugh, smile. Just take a little bit of load off here. Let's see who we got. Craig Smith is in the house. What's going on, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
Says Ricky, will we be frying bananas tonight?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I gave my friend some heart attack fries. He wanted more, but I said, look, there's only so many bananas out there. I'll make him some tomorrow when he comes, after lunch. He always wants to have those heart attack fries. The thing is, for him, he's not carnivore. He's like, one of them Whole Foods people, but he's leaning towards the carnivore diet. He's on the keto train. That's his thing. So he says, you know what? If I'm going to have carbohydrates, I'm going to eat something natural that I can pick. I can see it cooked. So he gave up junk food. No more Chick-fil-A for him. That's gone. I used to tease him all the time when he went Chick-fil-A and ate them nasty little, I don't know, the funny looking things they call fries. They smell bad.
Yeah, the waffle fries.
Yeah, something like that. It looks like a little crisscross thing.
It's just a potato cut up into a waffle shape and fried. Yeah, it's It's a waffle fry. Yeah.
And then it's got some kind of
Listen.
sauce that looks like something that came out of a duck.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, they have their own sauce. Hey, listen. You're talking to people talk about food addictions and all that. Yeah, I'm a former potato man. I wasn't worried about cakes and all that stuff and cookies and that. Yeah, I eat potatoes with every meal. If it wasn't a French fry or a home fry or a potato cake or a tater tot, you name it, I was all about it in my previous life. But we don't really roll like that. Thanksgiving Day is coming up. I'm kind of looking forward to it. I will definitely dabble in the dark art of the carbohydrate on Thanksgiving Day. But, one of those things. Heart attack fries are bananas fried in lard, right?
A beef tallow normally, yeah.
Oh, beef tallow. Gotcha. I gotcha. William McCartney is here. What's going on, William? Good to see you. My man, Bruce, getting his fuzzy pajamas ready. He is in the building. Love that My Apex Odyssey. Darth, Charlie, my man. May the fat be with you. He is here. And who else are here? We have the Cornerstone says, Yo, Rick.
Mm-hmm.
Good to see you, man. Appreciate you guys being here.
Mm-hmm.
And what else we got there? I think somebody says iguana population is down in the Miami, Florida area. You're looking at probably the culprit right here, family. This man is looking under rocks and in canals, and he is a predator, man.
Well, there's some good eating over here besides iguanas. You got the ducks, the Egyptian geese, and the chickens. The parking lot chicken, oh, that is the best chicken.
Now hold on a second. Let's back up a minute. You told me a couple weeks ago, and this may be breaking news. Stand by. I'm not sure. Stand by, people. The Keto Cookout. We bring you the latest breaking news. You told me that your duck population was down due to some rogue, radical, maniacal, demon-possessed raccoons.
Mm-hmm.
And you were out to get your revenge. You were going to go like Charles Bronson all the way. You were going to exact your revenge for the death of your ducks from them raccoons. Now, give us an update on that. Is there any breaking news that you could give exclusively to the Keto Cookout?
Well, the breaking news is that since I haven't been working like I normally did, I finally fixed my crossbow. And I went out every night. In fact, I'll go out later on tonight on raccoon hunt. And I have not seen a single raccoon. So evidently
I thought you were trapping them.
I did. I trapped 2 of them and I exported them. And I haven't seen any since. But see, the way I figured it, I trap them for maybe a week. And then after that, if any return, well, let's just say that they're not going to get trapped. They're going to get turned into a hat maybe. Because I will get rid of them.
Yeah. Speaking of turning into a hat, look, everybody, we got a guy with a hat. It's our man Dave. What's going on there? We get our man Dave from down under. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good.
Yes. Okay. I brought you in here because I brought you in here. Of course, me and Rick is breaking exclusive news. For those who are just tuning into the program, he has been working on his crossbow, and he has got some scores to settle with some raccoons that destroyed his duck population. And this is going out to all of them. Your days are numbered.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw Equalizer. Did you guys ever see the Equalizer? Denzel Washington.
Yeah.
1, 2, and 3. I don't remember which one it was. When he looked at all those guys that killed his friend, he said, "I'm going to kill every one of you." Well, that's how I feel right now.
This standing around Rick when he's firing that crossbow either is pretty powerful.
Yeah. This message goes out to all the raccoons who thought they could kill ducks and his ducks and get away with it. I'm speaking on behalf of my friend, my brother Rick. I'm going to kill every one of you.
And best of all, I even equipped it with a night scope. So,
you're going to need it probably for those raccoons because they're kind of nocturnal.
That's why the thing is, this thing is totally silent. So I mean, yeah, you'll hear it go, and then pow. That's about it. It's not like you're out there with a air rifle or something, and you get that popping sound. So they won't know what hit them. I see any raccoons out there, they'll just be, whoosh, and then I'll have
Yeah,
it
but you got,
reloaded and ready.
I mean, okay, listen, you would know this better than me. Okay, I'm not going to act like I'm any kind of authority on killing anything but a bucket of chicken. Okay, and a plastic lawn chair. I will assassinate a plastic lawn chair. Okay, I will destroy it. It'd be like a nuclear bomb went off. Okay, I'm just telling you. But don't you have to lure them some type of way? I mean, like leave some food out or something in the back or something. I mean, you think you're just going to think you're just going to catch one of them just passing through?
Well, the thing is, they have places they like to feed. So, I mean, you can bait them if you want to, but most of the time they hit the compost pile because that's where I throw out the bones and the scraps and all
Right,
that stuff.
right.
So I just hang
Yeah,
out there. That's where I trapped them. When I trapped them, I baited it. I used bread and I used duck food because that's what the raccoons like the most. I mean, they'll eat meat, but they prefer duck
Yeah.
food. Anything
Yeah, I mean, they
sweet, they
rummage
love
through trash. I
sweet.
mean, they rummage through trash cans and stuff. So, but that's
Yep.
why you have to keep the lid on and all that stuff, man. So I'm like, if you just happen to maybe leave the lid a little bit off of there with a nice something, that might attract them, and then yeah, there you go.
Well, around here, the county has the carts, so they don't use the cans anymore, and they have that lid that
Right.
lifts up. And the raccoons are
Yeah,
really smart. They know how to open that lid, go in there, have a
yeah,
feast, and then escape. But they
yeah,
never go in my can because there's nothing in there but a few plastic wrappers and maybe some junk that I took out of somewhere. There's no food in my garbage can. All the
yeah.
scraps were going to the ducks. But the leftovers, whatever they don't eat, goes in the compost pile. And, again, they were attacking the ducks. I guess when the ducks left, the raccoons didn't come back. They went somewhere else. But I do keep an eye out for them every night. The only thing I've seen out here is stray cats. And I can tell the difference between a cat and a raccoon. Definitely you see those cat ears, okay, don't fire at that. But if you see that little bandit thing with the whiskers, it's like, okay, your days are numbered, buddy.
Yeah, you gotta keep us updated on that. We have Operation Revenge on the raccoon population there. Let's see what else we
Well,
got in the room. Doc V is here. Doc V, my main man. Appreciate you being here.
if I get one, you're
Okay.
going to see me wearing a special hat.
Yeah, if I see you look, if you see him on the next broadcast looking like Davy Crockett, you will know exactly what happened. He didn't buy it right now. So my man Bruce says your garage is scary.
Oh, yeah.
I'm with you on that. Apex says I got this running in two places on my computer so I can type it on my phone so I can hear. That is dedication. That is loyalty. Apex Odyssey, you are a rock star. We appreciate you. Bruce has a question. Besides, what time is it? I'm sleepy. Rick, what kind of work do you do? I suspect a telecom, auto repair, handyman at various times.
Well, actually, that is correct. I mean, I do basically what's available. Like last week, the only job I had was an electrical job. Another one of my EV customers with the Tesla, they had trouble with their charging port. That seems to be the main thing. These electricians, they go out there, they put cheap outlets, and then the thing overheats. Sometimes it catches on fire, and then it's like panic time. And I've done, like you said, communications. About a week ago, I fixed a phone system for somebody. There are still people out there using wired phone systems, believe it or not.
Yes, they call them Amish. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm kidding.
I've had to do plumbing. I put some little videos of some of the work that I've done. You can see I've done soldering pipe and digging holes and cutting cables and running conduit and just all kinds of things. A lot of times I get called when some other handyman did the job and didn't quite do it right. And then they call me and I'm like, oh, what is this? And I learn all the ways not to do it. In fact, I might start making videos on how not to do home repairs. Some of the things that I see are just unbelievable.
Yeah, Doc V says, hey, watched a couple of your videos today. Yes, that's about all you can do. Just a couple. Just about a couple, man. Then it's like, whoo, you get charged the rope bar overload. Man. you start craving lard, and yeah, I got you, man. Yes,
Next thing you know,
111 says,
you'll
oh,
be
go ahead,
heading over to the canal with a crossbow.
yeah. Hey, if you see Doc V in a beat up van, you know he was watching too many Rick's videos. I'm telling you, with duck feathers flying out the back of them. DS111 says, I wish I started carnivore 41 years ago too. Then my hair might not have gray. Yeah, you might be right.
Yeah, I think we all wish that.
I get the biggest laugh out of
That's
people who
dang.
think I color my hair. It's so funny. I said, look, I'm so cheap I can barely even, comb it. I cut it myself. How can I color it? They think, oh,
You
you color
color it. You color it with lard.
Well,
That's-
it's hard and tallow.
Oh, all right. Hey, well, let's get with my man Dave. Dave, what's going on down under, brother? Hi, let's talk about you, man. What do you got going on?
Well, I suppose the same old, you know. It's nice and it's starting to warm up a bit here now, so it's starting to get nice and warm.
Oh, so it's like it's starting to get cool here. So now it's getting into your
yeah, we're starting summer now.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It's starting to get pretty humid. We're kind of like Florida weather, very humid and hot through summer. So it's
man, I tell you, it's getting to be nice around here now. It's getting to be the time of year that I can stand. I don't like the summers here. I'm a Buckeye man, so the winters down here are wonderful. Summers not so much. Not to mention the hurricanes. So and the storms. So
it's
the
our
heat
cyclone
wasn't
season
bad
now
enough.
too. So we've had a fair bit of rain recently. Probably got another cyclone coming off the coast soon, but this time of year it's always it's sort of wet and humid, and Christmas time is the hottest part of the year. So, it's kind of weird actually. I used to live in Japan. It was really nice. It was usually like Christmas was snowing where I was, so it was really just a really nice thing. But it was kind of like the first time actually when I went to Japan was the first time I had a white Christmas. But here it's hot. Everyone's in shorts and t-shirts and having barbecue for breakfast,
Yeah. No, I love that, man. I love that. William says infamous North America trash pandas. Yes, that is what they call the raccoons. My nephew is here. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Gonna be about time for bed for you, brother. Love you, man. Stay out of trouble. Be good. It's my nephew Levi, everybody. I think how old he is these days, 10 or 11 years old. I'm sorry, brother. I love you, but I can't keep up with all that stuff. I'll see him in a couple weeks. I will be up there. Actually, my nephew Levi is getting baptized, and the family's excited about that. He's a really good kid. We all love him, and I will be there. Uncle Russ will be there somewhere, lurking around the church. Hope they don't call security on me. But we love Levi. He's the best, man. So congratulations to him. Uncle Russ will be up there to see you in a couple of weeks. It says you're pretty good at killing time. Yes. Okay, there you go. Plastic lawn chairs, buckets of chicken, and time. We'll put there. William says Rick is going to make the coup hunters go to shoot a male. I don't know what that means, but gotcha. Josephine is here. Hey, Josephine. Speaking of Rick and his jobs, I was thinking about you, man, because I've been fascinated here recently with solar power. I have to make a long story short, I had an old generator. I hadn't fired it up in a couple years. Thankfully, I hadn't needed to. But we had a storm in June, an early storm, like the first week of the season, Debbie, I think it was. So I'm like, oh, great. Here we go with the bull junk. Starting already in June. So I'm thinking, let me go out and fire up this generator because I ain't fired them in 2 years. I don't even know if it'll start up. I go out there, the tires are flat, the battery's dead. I mean, it's just a disaster. The thing weighs about 200 pounds. I'm out there. I'm afraid I'm gonna sprain my whole life trying to pull, trying to pull trying to pull this 200-pound generator with flat tires. Yeah, I'm like, I'm about to pull everything but my face. I mean, it's just like, so I'm like, you know what? To heck with it. I'm not fooling with this thing. Storm came through. Power was out for about 6 hours, so it didn't end up being bad. But I decided then I said I got to figure something else out. So I started looking at. I see them on advertised on TV all the time. These solar power stations and all this stuff. So I started digging into it, and the more I got into it, the more I was really thinking, like, I didn't understand anything about electricity, and I know you know a lot about electricity. And I learned about the watt and all kind of stuff. And I started calculating how much power I use. Cause I mean, you know, most people, when they think of power, they think of volts and amps. You know, I don't know what a what, yeah, what is a watt? You know, it's like, what? Say what? So I started looking at how much wattage I used, or more, how much wattage I didn't use. And I'm like, man, maybe I could turn this into like from a disaster relief thing to actually like a money saving thing. So I got a couple of power stations, and I got a smart panel and a couple solar arrays, and I'm tinkering around with that. I had my solar arrays up in the wrong spot. I had cut down some trees and stuff, but I didn't know what I was doing. And basically, I keep telling y'all I ain't that smart, and so your man put a bunch of solar arrays in the shade. So, hey, I mean, I figure, hey, the sun is in the sky, so, how can you go wrong? So basically, I put these things up, and they basically generated exactly zero power. So I'm now relocating them. I've been watching them for about a week now, and I've discovered where the sunniest part of my yard is, and I'm going to put them there. And I might add, it's probably about as far away from where they currently are as it could be. So anyway, so yeah, man, I was thinking about the other day when I was fooling around with that stuff, and yeah, it's been very interesting and kind of fun. So that's what I'm doing. I'm gonna make a video or two, man. I might.
I think the biggest problem with today's solar panels are the heavy metals that actually leak out of them. There was a story some years back.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed. Like mercury, because they always put them on lean, and within the first 6 weeks of mounting solar panels, the mercury just leaks out of them. So you put them on your roof. They sort of that, like if you live in the countryside, like here in Australia, that you collect rainwater, that mercury is going into your drinking water.
Yeah, I don't have anything on my house.
Put them on the ground. If you put them on the ground, that those heavy metals are going to go into the soil.
Yeah.
So
they're all the way on the back edge of my property line. They're probably, I don't know, maybe 50 feet from the house, maybe a little bit farther than that. Maybe 60 or so feet from the house, and I just have a couple of them. They're up on pedestals, and they have solar trackers, so they have sensors on them. So when the sun moves, they move, to follow the sun. So we'll see how that goes, but I'm excited about. I'm not tied into the grid or anything, but my smart panel, it's really cool. I ended up using the EcoFlow stuff. My smart panel. It's so awesome. It's so cool. You can monitor every circuit in your house from your phone and see how much wattage you're using in each room. You could turn your breakers on and off from your phone anywhere you're in the world if you got it Wi-Fi.
The problem with that is they're second other people.
You have a what?
Second other people. If it's quite common now. Like people just hack into people's smartphones or smart homes, and they turn off their lights and things like that.
Yeah. I guess you could get me if you know how to do that stuff. But I didn't want anything on my house, and I didn't want to tie into the grid. My brother Don up in the Carolinas had a system like that, and it's the craziest thing in the world. He's got like 20,000 watts worth of solar panels on his house, and he's tied into the grid, and he doesn't have a power bill. But of course, he lives in eastern North Carolina, where they just had those terrible storms, and he didn't have power for almost a week, like 6 days. And he couldn't use any of his solar panels because the city turned them off. Because when you tie them into the grid, the city has control of them. And if they're generating power, it can, go back into the grid and electrocute the line workers. So he's there with a house full of solar panels and sitting in the dark.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
you have to have batteries. You have to store the electricity. Otherwise, you're just not going to be able to use it.
Yeah, he doesn't have that, man. He just has it's a grid tie-in system, and he doesn't have a power bill, which I guess is great. But when you really need it the most, you're up there, with no lights, running off a generator with 20,000 watts worth of power on your house. Yeah. So I guess it's a trade-off, but
the problem with solar power is that you can't use it directly because the solar energy is not constant. It's not like a generator. Yeah. A generator has a certain rating. It's going to put out a certain amount of power. And you have to realize that engines, they're rated in torque and horsepower. And when it comes to electrical energy, is voltage times current, which is power. It's named watts after James Watt, who's the one that really got the steam engine going. And energy is different because wattage is the amount of power that something can put out. But energy is how long it can put out that power. You may be able to be a really strong man, but after 5 minutes, you're tired out. So you may have a lot of power, but you don't have a lot of energy. But on the other hand, you might be some little weak, skinny thing. You don't have a lot of power, but you can work all day. So it's kind of the same thing. And the problem with the grid-tied solar, they don't have any battery backup. Yeah. So you have no way of getting steady power. Right. If you were to connect directly to the panels, either A, you wouldn't have enough energy to work anything, or B, you would overload everything, and you'd either burn out your solar panels or burn out the devices you're using. Plus, most of the devices we use are alternating current, which varies at a constant rate of about 50 to 60 cycles per second. All solar is DC, which is basically charging a battery. So that's the other problem. So there's just, that grid tied thing is no good and a disaster. It's like a Fukushima nuclear power plant. They're generating energy, but when the grid goes down, they can't even cool their own reactors. So it's the same kind of stupidity.
Well, if you get like I said, I've learned all this. So I didn't know, but if you do get solar panels, you have to have a charge controller, and the panel's hooked to the controller, and the controller does all the regulating because the power, you're right, it's erratic. If you put a meter on it, it goes all over the place, but the charge controller controls that and keeps it at a constant voltage that you can plug into your battery bank and keep that charged up. So Bruce has had enough. We're boring him with our solar talk. Appreciate you, brother. Always good to see you. My friend Jeanette is here. Hey, Jeanette. Yes, Debbie is our sister. She is a storm. We call her Hurricane Debbie for lots of different reasons. And BK, good to see you. Glad you are here. And so I have a charge control and all that stuff, and I have a battery bank, and I'm definitely set up for emergencies. That's for sure. I'm in a good spot there. I've got enough power with my power stations and my battery bank. If I turn off my whole house air conditioner, I can run for about 12 hours with no problems. It could be pitch black dark. When the sun comes up, I'm not generating any power now because they're all in the shade. But once I've got about 3,000 watts worth of panels. And from what I've read, you can hope to get about 90% of that. So I have about 2,500 watts worth of solar power during the day, give or take, which would be plenty to charge my battery banks up. So we'll see how it goes. I'll make some videos on it, briefly, just, show them whatever. I also want to give a shout out. This last week, I was able to hook up with my man, Adam Lacey and Kerry Mann Jr., and Dante Ferrigno. We had a great dinner down in Ocala at a Brazilian steakhouse. The name of the steakhouse, I think, was Ipanema Steakhouse, and it was pretty good, except it's the only Brazilian steakhouse I have ever been to that did not serve ribeye. What the heck is that? I was a man. Listen, if I hadn't been with them folks, I'd have probably burned that place to the ground. I'm just telling, man. I had my lips all ready for some succulent, fire grilled, medium ribeye, and I'm like, yeah, where's the ribeye? And he's like, oh, we don't have that here.
Oh.
I'm like, what? And you call this a steakhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I tell you what. So one thing I have learned, family, you got to do your research on these Brazilian steakhouses, especially if they're in, not one of the main ones. And speaking of Brazilian steakhouses, we have another man who has wrecked many a Brazilian steakhouse in his career. My man Doc V is in the building. What's going on, Doc?
Hello, everyone.
As a matter of fact, just a quick aside, get this. I get a message from Doc V telling me about a Brazilian steakhouse meetup the same morning that I'm on my way to Ocala to meet up with Adam and Carrie. And when I get there, Adam and Carrie was like, man, this is our second time. We ate at a Brazilian steakhouse this morning.
Oh, boy.
They had been with Dr. Vasquez and Dr. Kiltz and a few other people that morning at a Brazilian steakhouse at 11:30. Then they hooked up with me at 6 o'clock and Dante. So, yeah, that's funny. But anyway, go ahead, Doc. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. I started my 20-year-old generator to get ready for Milton, and it started.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get a chance
I never lost power. I lost power about 20 times, but never more than, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So
mine was out for about 6 hours, but I didn't even try. I couldn't even try to get mine started because the battery was dead. So, there you go. But I love that, man. 20-year-old generator. That's they don't make them like that anymore.
I picked them up from the side of the road and got them running.
In 2004. I had left the state of Florida for Francis. Were you here in 2004, Russ? Rick, I know Rick was. You remember Francis?
Oh, I remember. All of them.
Francis was a giant. I mean, it was coming straight to the Daytona, Volusia County area. Mm-hmm. And I had 3 small kids. I put them in the minivan, and I went to Virginia to a friend's house until the hurricane passed. It didn't do much damage as much as expected, but it was big and furious.
Andrew was
and I brought the generator in Virginia, brought it back. I've used it 3 times, maybe twice. Once I lost power for about 6 days was the most.
3 days is the most I've ever lost power. I was actually in Pensacola. I think it was Matthew, maybe. I can't remember. I don't remember the names. But
Matthew was in 2004 also. While I was in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, among 35,000 Pathfinders for the World Camporee, and Matthew hit Florida, left a dent in one of my cars because a branch fell on the hood. That was Matthew. So that same year, just a month later, Francis hit. We had 5 hurricanes hit the state of Florida that year.
Yeah. No, like I said, I got rid of my gas generator. Now I got some solar. I got some, electric power stations, and I got a nice smart panel there. So that's my new disaster relief, and we'll see how it works out. Maybe I can turn it into some savings on my electric bill too. We're going to see how much power I can generate from the solar panels, and I can set my panels so that the grid power is the backup. So I can run my house from my solar and my power station.
You're probably not gonna get much energy if you put them under the tree.
Yeah, thanks, Doc. Hey, listen, Hey, listen, I say it all the time, man. When you're as good looking as me, you don't have to be that smart. You know? You know? Hey, look, I had a choice between looks and brains. I took the looks. I should have went with
Even,
you. I should have did
even
what
I
you
know that.
did. I should have took the brains like you.
I've been off grid for months at a time.
Yes, you get.
Yeah, Rick's got a great setup.
What do you have for? What do you use for power, man? You got ducks back there paddling.
Well, you know, I was one of the first people. In fact, I was the only person I know that used wood gas. I had my truck running on wood gas. I've also used recycled vegetable oil and motor oil. But yeah, the generator I have here is wood gas. So I collect a bunch of wood from my yard, from jobs, everything. I got piles of wood. And you put it into a container. It's basically made out of an old rim, part of a water heater, a stainless steel tank. It looks like something from a Back to the Future thing, you know. You put the wood inside of it, you light it up. Then you have to turn on the blower to suck the air out of it. And then you have to keep turning a match to it until it lights the smoke. Then you can start the generator. And once it gets started, you just keep putting wood in there, just chunks of wood. And you fill that thing, it gives you about 4 to 6 hours. And then you just open up, add more wood to it. And it's great because after a hurricane, the fuel is everywhere and it's free. So if you've had a massive storm, you got debris all over. I'm going around the neighborhood with my bobcat and my chainsaw, and I'm picking up everybody's trash, and I'm splitting it in pieces. I got it stacked all around the exhaust so it can dry off. And they're like, why do you got all this wood all around your yard sitting in the sun? Oh, I'm drying it off so I can burn it. Like, burn it? Yeah, so I can run the generator. Of course, you got to remember that I also cook with a mixture of plant material and poop. As you know, I make biogas. So I have some really weird setups around here, you know.
Hey, I know what you. Hey, listen, I used to. Hey, look, I used to make biogas too, but since I started the kind of carnivore, I don't. Yeah, I don't make much biogas anymore.
Would it run with canola oil?
What's that?
Would it run with canola oil?
Absolutely. I ran my truck on canola oil for 15 years until my truck broke down, and once I fix my truck again, it'll run on those seed oils. I've made videos on how I centrifuge it and filter it. I was collecting it from food trucks, and yeah, I mean, it ran good. I mean, that's why I went away from the wood gas, because my truck fell apart. It got so rusty. I hit the railroad tracks and it came apart, and it basically fell apart in the middle of the street. Then I had to go on the side of the road and use cargo straps to tie it together so I could drive it home, and parts were still falling off. I mean, it looked like something from a Smokey and the Bandit movie. I had already lost the roof. I was on the
Seems more like Mad Max, mate. Like
it looked like Mad Max. I had a railroad track for a rear bumper. I had a tow truck bumper on the front. The roof blew off when I was on the Palmetto Expressway because it was so rusty. And then I had this thing was pretty bad. I had pieces of wood, pieces of metal, and everything. Cops stopped me all the time. I got so many tickets for unsafe vehicle. It was ridiculous. Of course, it was always dismissed in court because either the officer didn't show up or they didn't know what to say. You know, it's like I go down the list. Well, the lights work, the brakes work. I got all the motor vehicle requirements, and they're all there. But you know, just because I have a railroad track bumper and a piece of wood holding the bed on the back, and I got my wood gas generator, the gasifier on there. One time I went to pick up a friend at the airport. They had security, they had the police. They thought that I had an explosive device, and they were over there making a big fuss out of it. And I tried to explain to them, it's not explosive, it's wood gas. And then, I mean, I did have one explosion when I was teaching at the college. I was trying to get it started. I put the wood in there, it wouldn't light. I kept trying to light it. And then finally I had to put a little gas in there to get it where it would light. Well, the vapors built up, and as soon as I hit it with a torch, all the wood blew out of the top of it, and charcoal went all over the parking lot. I was going around picking up all the pieces of smoking charcoal, and the security came out, and they didn't know what happened. I said, well, you know, I mean, It's pretty funny, but you know what? When you have a wood gas truck,
Oh,
you have a grill everywhere you go. So whenever you want to cook,
oh,
you don't have to cook it on the engine. When you shut off,
yeah.
you just open the lid where you put the wood in, you put your food in the cooker, set it down in there. You can even grill in there. You could leave the lid open and put a grill in there and cook your steak. That was the greatest invention ever. I loved it. I went all
Yeah,
the way up to visit
sounds like
friends in
sounds
Iowa.
like you got a grill and a bomb everywhere you go. So if you don't blow the place up, we can eat. It's like, hey, hang out with me. You can eat, you might die. You can eat or die. It's like, it's like, what a
You could
thrill.
eat
Like,
and die.
come and eat at come and eat at my food truck. It can blow up at any time, but the food is delicious.
Well, then what I did, I figured out how to tap into the gasifier, and then I got one of those natural gas grills. So I actually had a nice little grill that I could put on the side of my truck. I stuck it right on the side where the bed was. I put a couple of holes in there. I could cook right there. I go to visit friends and, oh, let's have some lunch. Oh, where are you going to go? I'm going to go out to my truck. They're looking at me like, a truck? Yeah. I had a refrigerator that I kept in the truck, and that one ran off a power inverter. So I had extra batteries in there. I had a generator strap with the alternator. So I took out the original alternator. I put one of those from an ambulance, one of those lease Neville or whatever it is, 200 amp alternator. And then I had a battery backup with an inverter. So I could run electronic devices, but at the same time, it was like having your own mobile cooking station. So anytime you want to do something, I mean, shoot, if you wanted to, you could use a microwave, but I don't microwave my food. I mean, what's the point? Just plop it on the engine. You get the same effect. But you could plug power tools in there. I had an air compressor rigged to the engine. So it was a great truck. It just rusted out, fell apart. And once it disintegrated, that was it. But then I picked up this diesel truck that a friend of mine found me. And then my dad was already doing the vegetable oil with this Mercedes 300 SD. So he says, well, instead of building another wood gas truck, why not just do the vegetable oil thing? So in 2008, that's what I did. And then I drove that truck until last year when it got too unreliable and I had to park it. But I'm getting ready to pull the engine out of it and see what's wrong with it. I'm going to try to get that thing running again. I love the Mad Max kind of thing, though. The junkier and more beat up and scarier looking, the better. Because here in Miami, you don't want to drive something expensive. You'll be a target. All these idiots with their Lamborghinis and their Porsche and whatever piece of crap they're driving around in.
All them guys in their cars that won't blow up on them. Those guys are crazy. You live a little.
The thing is, when you see the junky vehicles I drive around in, no, I never lock the door because no one's going to break in. I think they're afraid to go in that thing. And even if they did break in, what are they going to steal? If they could get it started, they'd be pretty lucky. They'd probably make it halfway down the street before it fell apart. I don't think any crook would want to be seen driving around in a piece of junk like that. They'd be embarrassed. They'd rather walk or take a bus.
Rick will have the only food truck that you actually cannot walk up to and buy something from. His truck is like, listen, you call me on the phone, and I got a guy in a golf cart that'll bring it over to you.
And everything on the menu will be iguana.
Like, just call me up. Where you at? You need to be at least 100 yards away. And I'll just send the guy with a golf cart out to you because, I can't have you standing next to the truck. You never know what might go wrong.
The one thing that a friend of mine told me that I thought was funny says that you got the only vehicle that every time I ride in it, it smells like food. It always smells like steak or hamburger or chicken. Like, yeah. But you get in one of these new cars, they smell like chemicals. That new car smell gives me a terrible headache. I get in there, I start feeling sick. Like, oh man, I'd rather get in my old truck. Even the one with the exhaust leak. That thing had an exhaust leak.
The exhaust smell is toxic petroleum compound.
Whatever it is in these new cars, it's bad. It's like all the people that have new homes, they paint their home. Then they have this. My neighbor, they use some kind of chemical in their dryer. And the dryer vent's on the side of the house. I'm working in my yard, and I smell this strong, like a chemical soap smell. And it really bothers me after a while. Then you got people here that wear these colognes. They smell like lacquer thinner or acetone or something like that. I've gotten super sensitive to a lot of these chemicals. I have no idea why people do that. I guess they think to make them smell better, or I don't know. But
And the
if you go
chemicals
out,
and the materials that we all use too, you know, like even in people's clothes, carpets, and you know, like plastic chairs, everything like that too. It's everywhere, you know, and it's we
all
absorb that into the skin. And
all
it's
all my
skin.
furniture is old. I don't even have styrofoam. This couch and all that, it has springs in it. It's stuffed with this wool looking stuff. All my towels, which I have to use to keep the cat from clawing the furniture, they're all cotton. I wear cotton undershirts and underwear, and everything here is basic. I think that's why a couple of my friends used to say they thought I was Mennonite or Amish. I said, no, I'm not. I'm not Mennonite. I'm not Amish. If I was Amish, I'd have a beard.
Yeah, that and the no electricity.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing. Everybody laughs at my light bulbs because I got incandescent light bulbs. I got a collection of those things. I must have 300 of those bulbs because I saved every one I could get my hands on. So everything here is an incandescent bulb. And they're like, it's so dim in here. You know, you see, like on my video, it always looks kind of dim. But I don't like those new lights. They're way too bright for me. I like the old ones. It's just a
They're not
personal
healthy
taste.
Yeah, Booby Goat says, hey,
Hey,
see you, appreciate you being here. DS111 says, that's true. I don't make biogas anymore either with this excellent diet. You know, I have to be honest. Listen, I'm gonna be honest here on the Keto Cookout. I tell it all. I have to say I kind of miss farting a little bit. I kind of do. You know, it's a blessing and a curse. You know,
did you ever see that video somebody put about 10 years ago? The car called the Flatula Backfire.
No.
Yeah, it's funny if you ever see that. It's like a smart car. They call it the fart car. And what it is that to make fuel for the car, you sit there and you fart. It collects the farts and it runs the engine. So I thought that was really funny.
Oh, yeah.
Fart car.
And what do you do when you run out of gas?
Well, you got to go to the gassy station, and they got a guy that'll stick his rear there and fire it up with more farts. Or you hit the Taco Bell.
Yeah, go get some beans. There's a guy there with a 55-gallon drum of black beans.
It reminds me of like in Japan, they do all these really strange trivia sort of like research things just for a bit of fun, I guess. But my wife was telling me a bit of trivia a couple of weeks back, like in Japan, that the average speed of a fart was about 12 kilometers per hour.
I wonder how you put a radar on that. Who's standing there with the radar
camera?
Yeah, of course. Well, that was average speed. So, I would say vegans probably fart a lot faster than that. Certainly.
I'm a rapid fire.
I did.
Okay, this is the part of the show where we contractually have to do something informative and ketogenic. And since we have two ketogenic masterminds, and we also have Doc V and Dave here too. Doc, give us a tidbit, something. The folks, give the folks something to give them a little knowledge, a little information, something going on in the ketogenic life that they need to know.
Where do you ask me a question? There are too many topics.
Okay, Dave, let's go. Dave, give the people a tidbit. Give the people a tidbit of knowledge, something on the top of your head that people need to know about this ketogenic life. What do you think?
Well, I think just the basic. A basic need to know sort of thing is, a ketogenic diet or carnivore diet, especially, is very low in deuterium. So health wise, perspective wise, like mitochondrial health wise, it is the healthiest way to eat, bar none.
Now, hey, hold on, Dave. You see how easy that was, Doc? You see how easy that was? Go. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dave. You're masterful information. Go ahead, Dave. Just finish up,
I
Dave.
did not want to get into a class about any particular subject. I did tell you about my cancer, right? Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bladder cancer.
My CAT scan was clear about 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks
Yes,
ago.
yes.
Whatever.
You are now cancer free, and that is a blessing.
That's amazing.
Yes, I love that.
How about Dawn phenomenon? You want to know about that?
Yeah.
Say that again.
Dawn phenomenon.
And your blood sugar goes up.
The dawn effect, I think they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes,
They call it dawn phenomenon.
let's tell everybody right here on the Keto Cookout. We have we have Dr. Nelson Vasquez, a ketogenic doctor, one of the masters, one of the greats in our community. He is going to give us some information here that you need to know about the dawn effect. Give it to him, Doc.
A lot of people blame first the cortisol, but cortisol is not the only hormone secreted during the morning to wake you up. You have catecholamines, you have glucagon, and growth hormone. And growth hormone and glucagon stimulate the production of sugar and raise your glucose. And the more insulin resistant you are, the worse the effect is.
So can I say that? Am I correct when I say that the dawn effect is the having high blood sugar in the morning when you wake up? Is that a way that we can say, in simple terms? So
it's all mammals. We normally secrete many of these hormones to wake up. Our body prepares us. When you're metabolically sick, you'll see a higher spike of blood sugar. Everybody's going to have a little bit. Usually you might not even notice much. Is minimal if you're metabolically healthy. But when you're not, the more insulin resistant you are, and the insulin resistance is not only a problem with insulin, also there is a disruption in the way all these other hormones I mentioned also work, and the response that you have to them, and how much glucose you end up having. There are negative feedback mechanisms that are not working, and you end up having, just by waking up, some people might have 30, 40 milligrams or more increase in sugar and blood sugar.
So let me make sure I understand. Let me make sure I understand this. So what you're saying, in essence, if I understand this correctly, is that when you go to sleep at night and you have a good night's sleep and you wake up, and if you're checking your blood sugar, you would expect that your blood sugars would be lower because you've been fasting for however many hours while you're sleeping and such. But because of the dawn effect, when you wake up and you check your blood sugars, it could in fact be higher. But this is not a cause for alarm. Let not your heart be troubled. The dawn effect is just temporary and will, in fact, as you go through your day, things will kind of regulate and come down to normal. Is that a good? Did I do that right, Doctor? Explain that.
Perfectly. It is still a sign, though, that you're not metabolically healthy completely.
Yes, because okay.
Because
so are you saying
normal response will be a little bit, not a high amount?
So what you're saying is that people who are not metabolically healthy will have an increased dawn effect situation or whatever. Their dawn effect will be exaggerated or be heightened as opposed to somebody who's metabolically healthy. Now, is it, if you're extremely metabolically healthy, is it possible that there is no dawn effect? or does the dawn effect always happen? It's just to what degree?
It always happens.
We always have the hormones secreted to wake you up. But if you're not if you are metabolically healthy, your body will deal with it. There'll be increase of glucose production, the proper insulin response, the proper glucagon response, and the proper growth hormone amount, and all this. And our bodies, when they're working correctly, they're keeping the blood sugars within a tight range. You might see a little bump, but you can even see it flat. It's happening behind the curtain. You know, it's
okay. I have a question.
The hormones are being secreted. Your body is responding adequately to them.
Okay, I have a question. Follow me here now. Stay with me. Is there any correlation between the dawn effect and not being hungry in the morning when you wake up?
There might be a little bit, because especially if your system is working correctly, catecholamines, epinephrine, they actually will suppress your hunger. Insulin doesn't make you hunger directly. Insulin indirectly, by lowering your blood sugar, and that's whole interchange, makes you hungry as well. But whether that's the only thing suppressing the appetite, that's a good question.
And the reason I asked that is just because for me, and I know many other people, you wake up in the morning, you're not hungry at all. I don't get hungry till around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I know other days I get up and I'm hungry as a bear in the morning. And I'm just wondering if it has to do with your blood sugar, because if you wake up in the morning, your blood sugars are elevated, I'm guessing theoretically you won't be hungry. But as you go on through the day and your blood sugars start to drop from that dawn effect or that morning effect, then you get hungry. Listen, I know I'm nuts, but am I onto something here, Doc?
Many people in the morning are not hungry. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, right? At least that was what Kellogg's was saying to sell cereal. It is the most important, by the way. It's the most important meal. Just it doesn't matter when you have it.
Yeah.
If you're not hungry, whenever you're hungry, then have a good breakfast. But, there is a question here. Josephine C wanted to know what are my 5 top.
Yes, I was getting there. I was getting there. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me with my show, Doc. Dr. Nelson, what are your top 5 go-to vegetables?
I don't think I've had 5 vegetables in the past 5 months.
Yeah, me too. Me either.
Rarely. I mean, I've mentioned this before. I'm 99% carnivore, but occasionally, if I have something, would be a pickle. It would be olives.
Olive is a fruit, Doc, but that's okay.
Well, non-carnivore things.
Okay, here's a better question, maybe, or a better way.
Onions and bell peppers. Sometimes, especially if I'm cooking, because when I'm home, I'm usually the cook.
Yes. Let me reframe it a little bit. Give us the top 3 highest carb vegetables, worst vegetables. If you're trying to get away from vegetables, which ones should you get away from first? I certainly have a list, potato. And I think well, that's not a vegetable. That's a starch. Let me give you what I think are the 3 worst vegetables.
I'll tell you one of the worst ones. One of the worst ones you could eat is broccoli.
Okay. My man Dave says broccoli. I was going to say peas.
Yeah.
Okay. What?
Peas, green peas.
Oh, okay.
What about beets? I think that's a bad one.
A lot of sugar. It's also a root.
What about carrots? I think that's a bad one.
Also root.
Okay,
Anything that
so
grows into the ground is gonna be very rich in carbohydrates.
yes, that's my
one of the reasons why, like broccoli, for example, is a man-made, genetically modified vegetable that is highly toxic, and it holds on to because it's so like the reason why it's so green too is because it just holds on to so many chemicals they spray onto it as well. It really is. It's one of the most toxic sort of vegetables you can get. So I think that would be the first one to eliminate. But of course, for me, I don't think any of them are good. So just eliminate any of them, all of them.
Come on, Dave. Don't you know that cruciferous vegetables are the best? They are superfood. What kind of misinformation?
Superfood, all right? They'll put you in your grave super fast.
What kind of misinformation are you putting out on this internet?
If you can tolerate them, to me, they're better than eating a piece of candy. But if I'm gonna have a vegetable, broccoli would be sometimes what I eat, but I probably haven't had a piece of broccoli in more than I don't know, a year, maybe 9 months. I don't know. Rarely have it. But
if I were going to have a vegetable,
I wanted to mention this. I had a conventional treatment for my little tumor in the bladder, and during that treatment, I used the press pulse plan from Dr. Seyfried, and even I didn't have access to glutamase inhibitor medications, but I have a list of 10 supplements. They all are from vegetables, basically, or fruits. And sulforaphane is one of those. Broccoli extract, sulforaphane. It's a glutamase inhibitor. So I was using it with fasting during my treatments once a week for 6 weeks.
Vitamin D also will also inhibit glutamine uptake to tumors as well.
I was taking that too.
Yeah.
So, I was taking 7. I have a list of 10. I was taking 7 of those, and then I was supplementing with vitamin D because it was low anyways the last time I checked. And so, plants, some people claim that plants are poisonous, right? But those poisons sometimes can be used as medicines. So,
well, like not every part of the plant is poison either. Like you can get, like when they say extracts, they usually extract the useful part, and they sort of discard the chemicals that are quite toxic. So it depends on what some supplements can be useful. I tend to think that you want, like D3 is a hormone, and you want to be able to produce as much of that yourself. So high fat diet, sunlight, and grounding are really key to a good D3 production in your body. I'd love to hear more of your cancer story, Doc. If I'd love to do a stories of healing podcast. I'd love to talk to you sometime if you're interested.
Sure.
Okay.
There you go. We have created a connection here.
By the way, DC, I've watched you sometimes.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. Well, there you go. We have now going to have a new connection. We're going to have a powerhouse podcast with Doc V and DC. Man, you are going to learn stuff from these two guys. They know everything. Unlike me, I know nothing.
Actually,
email is
tonight I will be
Doc
doing a
email.
live with Dr. Chafee as well. If anyone's interested, tonight here in Australia, I think it'd be pretty early over there, but I'll be doing a live with Doc Chafee and Professor Bart Kay talking about metabolic health and cancer treatments. We'll be doing that today.
I love that. I mean, shout out to Doc Chafee. If you see him, tell him I said put his shirt on. And yeah.
I remember that.
Listen, that's my guy. I'll tell you a quick story about Doc Chafee. I was at KetoCon in Texas, and everywhere I go to any keto event, usually within 90 seconds, somebody yells out my name. Okay, that's just what it is. So I literally walk into the auditorium, into the pavilion there, and I am there checking in, getting my name tag in my bag. I've been there for 90 seconds, and I hear Russ, and I turn around. It's Anthony Chafee. So literally, we sat there. We talked for probably about 20 minutes. His girlfriend came up, talked with us. We and I was able to hang out with him later. But yeah, that's my guy. I harass him on live streams and Zoom calls from time to time. But he's a great guy, great sense of humor. And I roasted him with the Reverend IB Low Carbon one time there. He loved it. He's got a great sense of humor. He's not really known for that too much. He's kind of serious in that, but he really is a lighthearted guy, good sense of humor, good guy. I like him a lot and follow him.
Really nice guy.
Yeah.
You can tell he jokes around with his sister a lot. Whenever he's live, his sister very often will be there, and they poke fun at each other. Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know if I'll be up that late, but by all means, if you care to, tell him I said, hey, Russ, I was on with him. He said to tell you, hey.
When is that, DC?
Today, my time, it'll be 5 p.m. here in Brisbane. So
what's that, 5 a.m. our time? Is it 12 hours?
Let me see, it's 12 o'clock now, lunchtime, where I am. What time is it over there?
It's 10 p.m. here, so
so you're about 14 hours behind.
Yeah.
So another 5 hours from now.
I don't know if you saw the video, but I was with Dr. Chafee. We didn't talk about cancer because at the moment I was keeping it on the down low.
Okay.
Yeah. Rick is back. We lost you, man. We thought you got kidnapped by a pack of wild iguanas, man, and a raccoon might have got to you, man.
No, this crazy cat attacked my computer, and my computer's so old it crashed, and it took forever to restart. This animal goes crazy.
Yeah. Well, that concludes our educational portion of this video. Now we can go back to foolishness for a few minutes before we sign off here. I think we have some Odyssey, my Apex Odyssey. I meant to tell you all that I finally found some reasonably priced picanha. Man, that deserves, boy, let me tell you what. If anything deserves a round of applause, that is it. I have mentioned here a couple of times, and for those who may not know or may not remember, picanha surpassed New York strip as my second favorite cut of meat. Ribeye is still the king, but picanha is now a firm and strong number 2, and then New York strip is number 3. And I bought some picanha today, as a matter of fact, and I'll be making it soon. Then it says, I posted a short video of it sliced, got an insult comment in Spanish with a middle finger and a thumbs down. That was from me. That was from me. So I take it back. We have someone here who could probably interpret that for you. But I don't know why they would be insulted, because you cut it up, maybe? I don't know. That's what I do. Now, how do you make your picanha, Doc? Because I know you're a big picanha fan. I cut mine into steaks. I cut the corner off and then it into steaks, and it looks like a New York strip steak if you didn't know better.
Yeah. You have to be careful because the fibers don't run only one way. It seems that at some point that there is another muscle running a little bit off. But if you're going to like grill it, cut along the lines, along the grain. So after you grill it, you're cutting against the grain to eat it.
Come on, Doc. Who you talking to here? You know I don't understand nothing you just said. Listen, this is what listen. It's very simple. It's kind of triangle shaped a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't do grains, okay? Sugars and grains are bad for your brain, okay? So I don't know nothing but about grain.
Look at how the fibers of the muscles are running.
Okay, I am too against the grains, okay? We're together on that. You and me we're against the grains. I take the little corner because it's mostly fat and only a millionth ounce of meat anyway. And so I cut that corner off. And then I just cut 1 inch, about one and 1.5 inch. And I usually can get 4 or 5 good steaks. And I put them in a pan and fry them. And with bacon grease or something, maybe some avocado oil, whatever. That's what I do, man.
If you're not in a hurry, you cut them, put them on a pan or forget what the name, but with a grill, salt it, put it in the fridge for a couple of days.
Oh, that's a dry brine. There is. Let me explain something to you, Doc. There's no way in the world I'm going to do anything 2 days ahead of time to eat. Okay, that's not going to happen, man. I do dry brine my meat though, 4 hours. That's it. And I don't put it in the refrigerator. I take it out. I don't care what steak it is. It could be a ribeye, a strip, a picanha, whatever. I take it out of the refrigerator, put it on the counter, dry brine it, and leave it there for 4 hours. It gets down to room temperature, and I oil it up and put it in the pan. That's how I roll. And it turns out really pretty good.
Christy from Meeting Wellness.
That's who turned me on to picanha. Lady Picanha, my friend.
Low and slow.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Like that.
And that's why I was asking you about how you made it, because I've seen her cook it in the oven, all one big piece.
No, I cut into steak and grill it or bake it in the oven or on the stove. I've done it all.
Yeah.
Every week.
I don't know why you would need to do it low and slow, because it's already a tender, juicy piece of meat. It's not like a brisket or something that's tough and coarse and you need to cook it long to break it down. Man, I cut that thing up and it's already room temperature. That's one thing I learned that years ago. If you cook meat at room temperature, it'll elevate your game. Cooking cold meat is not the way to go. So it gets down to room temperature. I throw it on there literally about 4 minutes aside, and it comes out a nice medium. And man, it is so tender and juicy. 10 minutes, well, plus the brine time. So it's not like a roast or a brisket or oxtails or something that you got to slow cook, because it's, if you put a brisket on the grill for 10 minutes, man, your dog probably couldn't even eat it. I mean, it's a tough, coarse piece of meat. You know what I mean? You have to cook it that way. It's like trying to slow cook a ribeye. You don't need to do that.
You have to cut it with a chainsaw or brisket.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so
how many minutes on the engine, Rick?
Well, engine cooking is usually low and slow, in my opinion.
Yeah,
you're not going to get. It's not like a grill. If you want to get it cooked faster, you put it on the exhaust manifold. If you want it to cook slower, you put it on the intake manifold. It's pretty simple.
So what is the approximate temperature, would you say, of the two different locations?
Exhaust manifold, that can be 400 or 500 degrees easily. On top of the intake, yeah, maybe 300 and something. It's been a while since I've taken a temperature of it. Now, if you want to really cook fast, you put it on the muffler. That's where it gets the hottest, especially out of the exhaust or on the turbo. If you got a turbo on your engine, that'll get pretty hot too.
Now, how do you get the motor oil taste out of it? How do you do that? How do you get? I mean, smoke. The smoke flavor. I think most people prefer hickory to motor oil.
Well,
yeah.
If your engine's in good shape, it shouldn't be burning motor oil. And anyway, if you're like me, you make your own containers using a pressure washer and some steel. So once you clamp it in the container, none of that engine odor is going to get into your food.
Yeah, so as long as your engine's good, you're not going to get any oil in there. But,
I mean, it's almost like it's not a pressure cooker, but it is somewhat pressurized, because what you do, I get one of those bowls, like a doggy bowl kind of thing, and you get a piece of steel and you make a mold out of wood, and then you clamp it together, and then you use your pressure washer, like a power washer, and you put pressured water in there, and it'll make the metal conform to the shape you want. Then when you have the lid, you just put it on your container, and then you use what's called the band clamp. It's like a little C cross section thing. It has a screw in it. You put your food in there, you screw that in there and plop it on the engine, and then you go for a drive. And the thing is that if it does shake loose, your food's not going to spill out. You don't have food. I mean, some food will leak out when you're driving. You go over a dirt road or something. That thing's not a perfect seal, but at least your food is not going to spill all over the place, and then you lose your food.
I'm gonna write this down. I'm gonna write this down so I make sure I never do that.
Rick's a genius at cooking on the engine.
Yes, he is a genius in more than that, I will tell you.
Well,
Odyssey says, Winn-Dixie, I guess you're down here in my neck of the woods. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Yes, Winn-Dixie has picanha most of the time. $7.49 is the regular price. I've never seen it different than that. Also, Costco down here in Jacksonville has picanha all the time. And they have much bigger cuts, and they have 2 in a package. Also $7.49 a pound in my area in Jacksonville, Florida. I know I've talked to other people in different parts of the country, and their Costco's don't have them. I don't know why, but we have them all the time here. Even Publix sells them. Same price, $7.49 a pound. I've never seen any other price except when it's on sale in the Jacksonville, Florida area. It is a fantastic cut of meat, and I know, don't at me, but all the carnivores hate it when I say this. I do cut off some of the fat. It's just too much for me. I cut about a third of it off. There's still plenty of it on there. It's still got a lot of fat, but man, unless I want to turn myself into a human nuclear reactor, I have to cut some of it off of there. I can't.
Just save it later. So you can always cook it into tallow later.
No, you can.
Walmart sells it for $9.84 a pound, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then Bravo Supermarket, which I buy it sometimes, it has different prices. Sometimes on sale, not on sale. They are $9.99 the last time I bought it at Bravo, I think.
I've never paid more than $7.50 ever, and I'm lucky. I guess I'm just in a good area. Everybody has it, and that's the price.
I have a Winn-Dixie in my hometown. I gotta go and check it out because I never go there.
Up now, here in my neck of the woods,
goes to a Fresco, right? A Fresco.
Yeah,
you have
Fresco
a Fresco.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna head off. Anyway, thanks for the chat.
Okay,
it's good to see you all, guys. Nice to meet you, Doc. I just sent you an email too, so I'd love to hear back from you soon. We'll get together and talk. I'd love to hear your story.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be shutting down pretty soon here. We're about done. We're going to finish up here, but I appreciate you, Dave. Always good to see you, brother.
Guys.
God bless you, man.
You have a great day. See you soon, Rick. Take care, everyone.
All right. Hey, I wonder if anybody knows what this is.
Swimming pool hose.
Nope. It's for the air conditioner.
Oh, Gotcha.
light
Oh,
set.
it's got wrapping around it.
Yep.
All right. Good
The
night,
cat's trying to
everybody.
claw it.
Okay. Good night, Doc. Appreciate you. Good to see you, man.
Have a good night. Talk to you later.
Yep. Yeah,
Silly
we're
little
winding
thing.
down here. I think we'll see.
Watch the claws.
Josephine says, if I eat
Ow.
before bed, I don't feel hunger, but if I eat too early next morning, so
You're
want
a
food.
bad kitty. Bad
If I
kitty.
eat at night, I don't really have a great night's sleep. It's worse for some things than others. Like if I have something small, like maybe some salmon salad or some sardines, I'm
Ow.
good. But if I eat, something a little heavier,
Ow, ow,
patty
ow.
steak or something like that, I just don't sleep that well. Which is interesting because I fall asleep better when I'm full. I fall asleep faster and easier when I'm full, but I don't sleep as well. But when I'm on an empty stomach, it seems like it takes me longer to fall asleep, but I sleep 10 times better. So explain that. I don't know, for keto people, I'm on meat. I don't know what that is referring to, but everybody is welcome here no matter what you eat. And yeah, we're talking about vegetables. Sweet peas, sugar snap, sugary. Yes. Okay, with that, pickle wings. I don't want any vegetables anymore. I don't want hemorrhoids ever again. Carnivore cured it.
Ow.
I like a little variation. I eat meat 90% of the time. A little vegetable here and there on Thanksgiving. I like a little green beans. I like a little asparagus.
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't eat too much of that. I used to love laying outside in the veg patch eating. Yes, my dad used to make us work in the garden, and yeah, we would eat tomatoes, we'd eat peas, we'd eat corn right off the cob when we were little kids. And are you kidding me? Absolutely, Apex. Still are. I still use a fair amount of tomato products. I use salsa, and I use some tomato sauce in my ground beef and salsa in my ground beef. And absolutely, we were out at a Brazilian steakhouse in Louisville at Keto Palooza, and they had on the buffet, they had a big pan of fresh cut tomatoes, sliced up perfectly, and they looked so delicious. And I almost had a couple, but I had ribeye instead.
Smart choice.
Yeah, but I do like tomatoes and that home grain tomatoes, brown butter. Yeah, I don't know. Yes, Dr. Nelson is great. I used to love beans, but I shelled so many beans and peas in my lifetime, prepared to live without them. I like Mexican food, so beans, rice, beef, all that stuff. I used to eat that stuff. Haven't had beans in forever, but there you go.
That's beans.
Oh, does it say beets or yeah, beans. Yeah. Well, all right. We have fulfilled our contractual obligation to the family. As always, we appreciate you hanging out here with us on a Tuesday night. You could be doing a lot of things, but you're out here hanging, having a good time with us. I appreciate you all, and love the time with the family, hanging out, laughing, enjoying each other's company. That's what it's all about. Tell your friends, like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. We will be here next Tuesday night. Nurse Kim will be in the building. And as always, we wish you all the best, and we will see you on the next one. We grilling, baby.
We're grilling.